Mamoru Kime. Hiroko came from Anuradhapura. Ranjini, can get hot water have? Warm water? No, just warm water can. Sensei didn't come, right? Come in? Why?
Good evening, Bante.
Yes, Hiroko. Okay. We can start now, eh? Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So good evening to all of you.
Evening.
And also we dedicate our merits to especially those who perished in Turkey. You heard about it, right? In Turkey, the earthquake. And in Japan, Turkey, it's very common to you all also. You had very devastating earthquake in the past and tsunami. So therefore, share merits with them is very pathetic and painful to see what had happened in Syria and Turkey. And we are also planning to help. Tomorrow I'll be working with some NGOs and our Sri Lankan High Commission, whether we can do something for them. So there are shortage of tents, winter clothes, and all those things. Okay, so let us dedicate merits. So remember, last 2-3 weeks or 2 days, 3 days, we discussed the emergence of Mahayana. And also we discussed, as I told you, remember when I mentioned to you, as just now Rahul read the syllabus, they asked whether there are any informations, evidence in canon, in Tripitaka. So Chulavagga Pali we have. Then we also have in, what is it called? Like Katavatthupakarana. These two texts, they are very important. And also I mentioned to you what? Maha Vamsa and Deepa Vamsa of Sri Lanka. It's no harm you mentioned. Remember I gave you, right? One stanza. They mentioned, especially Deep Vamsa mentioned, I'll give it to you. That will be very useful because if you can pick up some Pali words, especially when it comes to Satta Satika Kanda Chulavagga Pali. Remember, No, just put Satta Satika Skanda. This is the chapter. 700 monks join. 10 points. If you can read that paragraph and remember, it will be very nice. If you want, I will give you the Pali. That's very good. So that's known as what is it called? The clear-cut division, right? You remember we mentioned that 18 groups, right? 18 originated as a result of this 100 years after the Buddha's passing away. This will be very useful. And then come into Kathavattupakarana, right? In Kathavattupakarana, right? What is it called? Heretical views. Michaditti. Arahattera Mogali Puttatissa. So just take certain notes from them. It'll be very useful to you. And now I gave you, if you can remember these 10 names. Thera Sariputta, then Moggallana, Anuruddha, Mahakassapa, Punna, Mahakaccana, Rahula, Revata, Ananda, Upali. Among the 10 disciples, because this is where you know the scholars are looking at evidences. Was there grouping during the lifetime of the Buddha, or was it happened 100 years after the Buddha's passing away? So, okay, son, I leave it later. So you know who? Yuan Chuang. Yuanchwang. Have you heard about him? Hello? Hi. Do you know?
He came from the China
Yuan
Yeah.
Sang?
for
Yuan Sang?
to visit.
Yuan Sang.
Yuan Sang.
But this is how the actual way of writing is called Yuan Chuan. But of course, we call him Yun San. But the Chinese name is Yuan Chuan. He's known as Tripitaka Master. So it's known as Journey to West. He traveled from Hindu Kush to southern tip of India, spent 12 years in India. He mastered what? He mastered Sanskrit language, living in India. He was a student of Nalanda University. And in his return, he took more than 650 Sanskrit Buddhist texts to China and then set up Translation Bureau. That is 1,000 years later. That's like 6th century, 5th, 6th century AD, after the Buddha's passing away. Right? But his grew history, right? He was gone from China during Tang Dynasty. Tang Dynasty was a period, the period of peak of Buddhism in China. From south to north, east to west, the entire country, like something like what happened during the period of Emperor Ashoka. Right? Emperor Ashoka's period also the same thing happened. The whole country, because he erected 84,000 monuments. So it's all over, even including China. I don't know whether he went to Japan. You check, Emperor Ashoka could have sent messengers to Japan, because in China, there is the Ashokan pagoda. We call it Nimpo. Nimpo, very near to one Bodhisattva mountain. They believe that that pagoda being built during the period of Emperor Ashoka. And then Yuan Chuan, the Chinese traveler, he mentioned that, right, 1,000 years later, right? So he mentioned on auspicious days, right? Monks worshipped, right? This is a good news, learn, right? A different group of monks worship different arhantas. Abhidhammikas. If you can remember, Abhidhammikas, the monks who mastered Abhidhamma, is right. Thera, Ari, Putta. It's a like new moon, full moon day, especially northern part of India, Central Asia. Like when it comes to very auspicious day, the monks, right, they used to worship their, respected teachers, right? Abhidhammaka, right? Then Vinayavadin Pali. Vinayavadin Upali. Niras Rahula. Quite interesting. You know who are the Samaneras? Young monks, small monks. They like to worship Thera Rahula because he was ordained when he was 7 years old. So the young monk like Rahul. Very interesting. Right? They like Rahul. Then what is it called? Sutrantas. Right? They worshipped, what is it called? Unna Mantani Utta. Unna Mantani Utta. Samadhists. Samadhists worshipped Moggallon. Quite interesting. Because it's not that deviation, something, but what happened actually, that was the, how to say, the prominence, what they like. And then Bhikkhuni. Bhikkhuni means nuns, right?
Bhante Dhutangdhari Mahakashyap.
No, come in, I know.
Okay.
Dhutangadhari, Mahakashyapat. But it's not meditation here. I mean, it's a meditation is there, but basically you see like Bhikkhuni, nuns. Nuns worship who?
Anand.
Why?
Because he play a vital role.
Yes.
On the
He
establishment.
was a mediator. You know the story, right? That's also in Chulavagga Pali. In Chulavagga Pali, there is a chapter called Bhikkhuni Khandaka, the chapter of nuns. And what happened? He go to see the Buddha, come back and do Mahapajapati Buddha, Mahapajapati Buddha, Mahapajapati Buddha, right? He's like a peon, right? In the office. Oh, okay, you wait. I go and talk to Buddha, come back. Sorry. Yeah, please la. Okay, wait, I go back. Come back. Sorry. Yeah, please then go back. Come back. And then after third round, he decided what to do. So the bhikkhunis, right? They prefer, what is it called? Right. And then what is it called? Some others. So he mentioned the word. What is it called? Mahayanist. Worship Manjusri. Who is a Manjusri? It's a Bodhisattva. Please remember. When we talk about Mahayana Buddhism, there are two prominent Bodhisattvas. One is Manjusri, the other one is Avaloki Teshvara. Very popular. Even in Japan, Japanese Buddhism, in Japanese Buddhism, Kuan Yin, you know, right? Kuan Yin. How do you say in Japanese, Mamoru? You know the Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, the lady Bodhisattva.
Kannon.
Ah,
Kannon.
Kannon is Avalokiteswara.
Hmm?
Originated in India, even in Sri Lanka, it is very popular. But eventually transformed into female figure in China. It's very popular. If you come to Singapore one day, you are coming, right? Very soon, right? So come. Actually, if you can plan to come, Mamoru, 5 of you come here for 1 week so we can finish the paper, right? Because I'll give you Sri Lanka food, Sri Lanka temple to stay, but no sushi, no sashi, no sake, only got pumpkin, onion sambal, potato curry, right? Coconut, all those I give you. You want to come? Please come. So it's a good note. Please remember. You can keep it for your knowledge sake. Because where do we get the evidence? So Yuan Chuan, like he is a traveler. You know, India respects him too much, very much. Do you know the reason? A lot of historical evidences, they get it from this traveler's book. It's actually called in Chinese Tatan Siu Chi. Tatan Siu Chi. That means journey to West. A lot of Indians, even Hindus, actually pick up what is it called? You know, Ayodhya. All these places he mentioned 1,000 years after that. That is almost another 1,000 years back, right? His history is 1,000 years ago. How was India? Exactly 1,000 years, because this is 2023. So he came to India 1,000 years after the Buddha's passing away. Now it's a 2,000 years. Very important. So that's why even sometimes Hindus notice, oh, this is a place of Hindus. It's not why they are having, because invasion by a lot of other religious people, they demolish Hindu mandir, Hindu temples, and build their own religious places. Basically, they are the two major religious people from Middle East and from Europe. So that's what happened. So that's why here, when it comes to, what is it called? Manjusri, Bodhisattvas, like that, right? Of course, Mahakachan, Rahula, Revata, Ananda, Upali, right? All those venerable monks. Clear? So it's noticed that even during lifetime of the Buddha, there were some grouping around popular monks. Sariputta group, Ananda group, Upali group, right? Moggallana group. It is even today, because those who like meditation, right? They follow Arahanta Thera Moggallana, because you like psychic power to be attained through Samadhi. That's why, what is it called? The Samadhists worship Moggallana Thera, because the psychic power, the Iddhividha Jnana is an attainment of deep meditation. You need to meditate and meditate and meditate into higher jhanas. Then only you get the psychic power. So that became right. And Okay. Clear? This is one group. Remember these names. But of course, in Majjhima Nikaya, in one sutra, is mentioned about this. Trying to get that, what is it called? How we can find the, how to say those evidences of the disciples, but it is there. If you visit, what is it called? Buddhist shrines in China, especially. In China, but of course we do not have in Sri Lankan Buddhism. Sri Lankan Buddhism, we mention only two names, Sariputta and Moggallana Thera. Even when you go to India, these two venerables names and everything, very, very popular. Very popular. Even you go to a very big temple in Sri Lanka, you see the right-hand side, Arahanta Thera Sariputta, Dakkina Savaka. Left-hand side, Thera Moggallana, Vama Savaka. That's it. But when in Central Asia and China, these 10 venerables statue. If you visit Buddha Gaya one day, right? Even in Japan Buddhism, if you go to any ancient Buddhist temple in Japan, you see these 10 names, right? Hiroko, you better go to Japan temples, not Sri Lanka first. Visit and go and see those 10 monks are there. Clear? Comfortable? Remember the points I gave you, right? Earlier about the leader and so on and so forth. Can you remember? What were the early divisions, right? Okay. The next, right? The next division pertaining to, what is it called? Tripitaka. Tripitaka. Tripitaka mean is referring to specialized, right? Specialized in, what is it called? Canon. Right? Some of the Buddhist scriptures, right? The what is it called? Specialized. That mean, you know what happened? If you remember, memory, right? Committing to memory. Nearly how many years? Sorry. How many years? You may say almost 450 years. 450 years. Or you can say approximately 470 years. 470 years, right? The Dharma, right? Saved by memory. Remember, this is very important thing. The very important thing. Some venerable monks, right? Some venerable monks, they became a very popular, specialized. They mastered certain portion of the teaching of the Buddha. And they were given a title. Especially, you can remember this Mahayana speaker. right? Speakers of Buddhism, right? Rahul, are you a speaker of Buddhism? Yeah, you speak, but you don't know, right? You just speak, right? Keiko, make sure. So what happened, right? Remember these words. Sutrantikas. Those who mastered sutras. So they get a title. And even, you know, just now you were telling, you know, 500 years after the Buddha's passing away, when it comes to 1st century, 2nd century, 3rd century AD, the group divided into two, Vaibhashika and Sautrantika. The monks who are mastered of Abhidharma is Vaibhashika, Vibhasha. The master who mastered Sutra, Sautra, there were two very prominent groups. Very prominent group. So here you see what? The masters of Sutta Pitaka. You know Sutta Pitaka, right? Can you remember? What are the books of Sutta Pitaka?
दिग्ग निकाय, मध्यम निकाय, अंगुत्तर निकाय, संयुक्त निकाय, and खुद्दक निकाय.
Kuddaka Nikaya, how many books?
I don't know exactly. 16 book maybe. Yeah, not.
You had one book. Okay, good luck. It's okay. Right? Extra. It's about 15 texts. Some say 16, but it's okay. So the sutras. The masters of sutras. The next group, what? Vinaya Dharas. The masters of Vinaya. You try to remember these words. Actually, these words coming from where? Vinaya Pitaka. And also Mahavagapali especially. These are canonical words. In case you get a question, right? Show the evidence of division among the Venerable Mahasangha from the lifetime of the Buddha or during the lifetime of the Buddha. So these were there, right? And then there was what? Matika Dhara. This is those who mastered Abhidharma. As I Sutra Vinaya Abhidharma. Those days, early Buddhism, in early days, it is not mentioned in very much as Abhidhamma Pitaka. It is known as Matika. Matika is Abhidhamma Matikas. Especially the word Matika appear in Patthana Prakarana, the last book of Abhidhamma, 7th text of Abhidharma, right? And there is another group called what? Dhamma Katikas. Dhamma Katikas, speakers of the Dharma. Today also you know, right? You know this Monday is a day of funeral. Yesterday I went for a memorial service. A very popular Chinese monk passed away. He's very popular in the world. He's from Taiwan. The name of the temple is called Fo Quan Shan. Very big. He's a good speaker. He has temples in Australia, America. The biggest temple in America belongs to that temple. The biggest Buddhist university in Los Angeles belong to that temple. The biggest Buddhist temple in Australia, in Melbourne, belong to his temple. He has 3 temples in South Africa. He set up Buddhist temples in South African countries, African continent. In Singapore, so they have a good temple. We call it Fo Guang Shan. Buddha Light Temple. Venerable Sing Yin, his name is Sing Yin, very popular. So thousands of followers all over the world because he's a good speaker. He's a good Dhammakathikan. I believe Japan also you may have. When you become popular, when you are a very prominent speaker, people like to come to listen to your talks. So that, then another group. So they were known as, what is it called? Dhammakathikas. And then Digha, Bhanaka, Majjhima, Bhanaka. These 2 Nikayas are very popular. Some of them like to listen to the sutras in Digha Nikaya. Some others like to listen to the sutras in Majjhima Nikaya. So they call the speak of Digha Nikaya sutras, the speak of Majjhima Nikaya, middle length saying, dialogue saying, long discourses of the Buddha, medium types discourses of the Buddha. So that's also another, what is it called? The emergence of another group, right? Dhammakathikas, Vinayadharas, and all those things, right? Clear? And you know, dialectical differences. Can you talk note in it? This is very important when we speak about Mahayana Buddhism. Right? Different schools. This is where you, just now you say what? Sunyata Vada, Vijnana Vada, do you understand the word meaning dialectical? Yes? What does it mean dialectical? Dialect? No? When we say the word dialectical, it is referring to interpretation. Interpretation. How do we define the words of the Buddha? Different views, different debates. Also, you can say what? Logics. When it comes to dialectical, it's referring to what is it called logical. You know, who that? If you can remember this name, Nagarjuna, Vasubandhu, Asanga, Dinnaga. Remember the word Dinnaga? Dinnaga is the founder of dialectical teaching of the Buddha. Dinnaga. But of course, you remember the, what is it called? This name, you have to pay more attention to, right? Venerable Nagarjuna, because he is the one, the founder of Sunyavada. You have one chapter, a full chapter, what is Sunyavada? He is the one who wrote, what is it called? Prajna Paramita literature. Prajna Paramita, many thousand texts. From one word to 28,000 words. Ashtavinsati Satasahasrika Prajna Paramita. Ashtavinsati. So the text from, start from one. You heard the, what is the shortest sutra in Mahayana Buddhism? Ayo. Heart Sutra. You never heard about it? Never heard?
Heart
Heart Sutra. It's called Sinching, heart.
Sinking.
So it's the smallest. So from smallest, they continue to very big one. Right? So they, Nagarjuna, Vasubandhu, Asanga, Dinnaga, remember, you see the Sunyavada, Yogacara philosophy. These are all because different teachers, they started interpreting the teaching of the Buddha in different way. But what happened during lifetime of the Buddha, the monks did not ask many questions. Listen, practiced, attainment. Listen, practice, attainment. They listen to the Buddha, they practice the Dharma, they got enlightened. But few hundred years later, the monks started talking about the, what is it called, those points of the Buddha, I mean, the doctrinal points. So it is, especially, you know, mind, about mind. That's why like Vasubandhu, started Yogachara philosophy, entire Vijapti Matrata Siddhi. Even among Theravadians, right? If you look at the classification, when they classified the mind, the number changed. You know, the Sarvastivadi number doesn't tally with Theravada number. They have different number of mind, chittas, different number of chetasikas, and so on and so forth. Dialectical. Remember, dialecticians like to what? Argue. Not only they like to argue, they like to come out with their own interpretation, own interpretations. Right? And then the last one, right? You remember austerity and rituals. Austerity and rituals. Groups divided. You know, worship of Buddha statue, pagodas, Bodhi trees. So different rituals. You know, there was evidence that what is it called during what is it called the expansion of Buddhism in like Saraswati in the Central Asia. They say you build a pagoda, then you worship pagoda, you can attain enlightenment. So people used to circumambulate 7 times, 21 times, 108 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times, 1 million times. You know, even today in India, right, sometimes they go and chant sutras, right? They want to complete 1 million times. But then what happened actually compared to the, how to say, the early Buddhism, right? Well, you know, agarbatti, mombatti, those sticks. It is said that who proposed offering of joss sticks into this religion, to the Buddhist religion? It was not the early version. You know, in Mahaparinibbana Sutta, the Buddha said, Nahi Maihang Mala Gandha Dihi Pujang Karunto Mama Pujang Karunto Nama. The Buddha said that he who offers flowers and joss sticks to me is not real offering. Dhamman, Dhamma, Pati, Panno, Mama, Ujang, Karanto, Nama. He who practices the Dharma, he who leads the life according to the teaching of the Buddha, that's, but you know today, right? It's very popular in the world, the rituals and different austerities. As I said, austerity. You know the word austerity? Some monks, so early Buddhism, you really look at this. But then it was, of course, there are a lot of things to discuss, but we'll take as a brief because it was the influence of Hinduism in India. Hindus like to offer joss sticks, smoke. They like to offer fruits, ghee, milk, and they like to chant, recital. Chanting is there. You know, Vedic teaching. That's how the Buddhists adopted it. Nearly 1,000 years, Hinduism maintained, right, by memory, Vedic memory. Sadhus, rishis, they remember the stotras. It happened to Buddhism the same way. But then again, what happened when it comes a few hundred years later, dwindling. Dwindling. So now it becomes, you see, what's popular in the world today? Statue, here Buddha statue, there Buddhist statue, here pagoda, there pagoda, here puja, there puja, that puja, this ceremony, that ceremony. Endless. But that became popular. See, to learn Dhamma, only 5 from Japan, right? 5 people. So Japan has 120 million Buddhists, only 5 coming to learn Dharma. But if you do a big puja, wow, so many. And we look at the austerity, if you can remember these 2 names. Gama, Vasi versus Vana, Vasi. Village dwellers and forest dwellers. In Sri Lanka, in 1st century BC, there's a big gap between these 2 and big argument. Many monks settled down in the villages. But a group of monks, they don't want to stay in the villages in Tokyo, in Osaka, in Kamakura, right? They wanted to stay in the forest, in the mountains, in caves. They said that this is not Buddhism. Buddhist monks are not supposed to stay in a popular place in the cities and mix with lay people and all those kind of. So they pointed out. They pointed out. Clear? So you see, even among the Theravadians, right? Among the Theravadians, right? Thus it became, what is it called? Division, right? The division among Sangha members over certain views. So the Gamavasi, the village dwellers, they try to highlight that this is very, very important. We must live in the village, otherwise who is going to look after? And then they establish temples and shrines and encourage people to do more rituals. Blessing, fortune, and so on and so forth. The other group, they say no. You know one group, have you heard about it? Dhutangadhari. If you can remember this, Dhutangadharis. Severe austerity in Buddhism. 13 Dhutangas, very special. But it doesn't go with like vratas. Remember the Hinduism we learn like cattle, goats, dogs, and so on. But one meal a day, live only in the forest, never lie down to sleep, cannot only sit down and sleep. We are only rag rope. We are only rag rope. Only Pindapat go out and collect the meals and all those things. Never mix with lay people. They just come out, take the food and go back. That's it. Dhutangadhari. Even today there are. If you go to Thailand, Myanmar, in Sri Lanka, very small number. Olden days in China also it was there. They really cut off, right, from all those. No handphone, no laptop, no SMS, no email, right? Very nice, right? Yeah, no handphone die, right? How to continue with that? So this is what had happened. Clear? Okay. Can you recall the points now? Mamoru, can you tell me this? What are the main points of, the group in or beginning from last week? Can you tell me the headings of this? What?
Oh, which one?
Remember the from last week, I gave you headings. Certain the divisions, right? Like today we say, what is it called? Group in around popular 10 monks, and group in around the monks who mastered Tripitaka, right? And also there is one more I gave you, what happened? Dialectical differences, the interpretations, debate, right? And also, what is it called? Austerity and rituals. What did I give you last week?
Mahayana Buddhism.
Yes. Hmm? Can you all read the note and let me know?
It's about Mahayana Buddhism and Devdatta. Devdatta's
No,
five
not that.
last.
This
Last week.
session, this session,
Yeah.
during time of the Buddha's dissension of minor character took place in the Buddhist Sangha.
Yes. Last Friday, what did we discuss?
Doubt about what Arahathood. Doubt about
That was earlier lesson.
Is factors for the origin of schools.
Hmm.
There are 2 points: supreme headship and popular disciples.
Before that, before popular disciple?
It's a supreme headship.
Yes, these are the things. From beginning, from that point, I'm asking. Different opinions, different grouping. The first grouping took place, what? The appointment of successor. The monk wanted to have a successor. Devadatta is the first person. Devadatta wanted to be a supreme patriarch after the passing away of the Buddha. But the Buddha did not. And even the monks approached time to time. The Buddha said that, why don't you? It's a leadership. Right? We are looking at what? Different grouping. I agree with you because remember the first one, Kosambi. Right? Then there's a second prominent one is Devadatta's one. These are the two, in a way that they are very small, like Vajiputtas, Chulatistas, all those things, Sati. But the Buddha's attention was paid into that too very much because Kosambi division, dissension, and the division created by Devadatta. But the later they are not dividing, they didn't divide, but there were, what is it called? Certain grouping. So you said, what is it called? One is what is one? The leadership. Then next one?
Is popular disciples.
Yes. Popular disciples. Because Arantera Sariputta, Muggallana, Ananda, right? Basically, right? The monks would like to associate them, right? Then number 3.
Number 3. Today's lecture.
Yes, what is it?
Dialectical differences.
No, that is last one.
Austerities and rituals, dialectical.
Even before that?
Tipitaka.
Yes.
In Canaan.
Yes.
In Canaan.
Because specialized masters of what? The canon, right? Then coming to dialectical differences. Then coming to
austerities and rituals.
Austerity and
Rituals.
rituals. Very important. Please take note. Because today, actually, some scholars said what? There's no Buddhism, early Buddhism in any country. The original version of the Buddha lost already. Even in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is known as center of Theravada Buddhism. Yet, what do you see? The biggest pagodas in the world. The worship of pagoda is not entertained by Buddha. It was introduced by a Buddhist monk in the later period. You build a pagoda, you worship it, you can have more merits and go to Nibbana. So if you go to Sri Lanka one day, you see that erecting pagoda became, my goodness, it's a competition. If you go to Anuradhapura, you just stand beside one pagoda, you could see 3 pagodas of the same size. You can't imagine or say that which one is bigger because I built this, then the next king wanted to be bigger than that. In the same distance, vicinity, visibility. The next king built another one. You see the 3 big pagodas, like Tokyo City. So likewise in Anuradhapura alone, we have 5 to 6 pagodas just within 1 kilometer. Just within 1 kilometer. And you go to Kathmandu, what? Bodhanath temple in the heart of Kathmandu, biggest pagoda. And you go to India, right? 84,000 pagodas. You know, in Myanmar, right? In Myanmar, there's a city, right? There's a city called, what do we call, if you can remember, Pagan. Remember this name, Pagan, right? In 12th century AD. They believe the king built how many? 4 million. 4 million pagodas. Some big, some small, small. There's one pagoda called Ananda Pagoda. Ananda Pagoda. You go to the top of that Ananda Pagoda, right? And you see how far you can see. Your eyesight is very good. If you can see 1 kilometer, all pagodas. So this is what. So the rituals became prominent. And this was highlighted by later period monks. Or you build this much pagodas, or you go to heaven. Or you go to nirvana, and so on and so forth. So the people deviated from what? Like samadhi, the what is it called? Early version practice of meditation and all those. So it became ritual, offering flowers, offering sins, offering oil lamps. You know, in Sri Lanka, very, very popular act. The most popular act, 84,000 offering. 84,000. Flowers and how to say the lamps. Flowers and lamps, these two. Sometimes they spend so much money. Light 84,000 lamps. Offer 84,000 flowers, the whole pagoda garland. So that became very prominent. These are the actually developments of Buddhism. When they say it is known as development of Buddhism. Clear? Betty came, Nora? Is it? They are waiting? Not with the others? Is it? Okay, okay. So okay, eh? I have to go for a puja. Thank you. Namami Buddhang Gunasagarantam Satta Sada Huntu Sukhi Avera. May you all be well and happy. See you on Friday.
Sadhu,
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 sadhu.
sadhu.
In
Thank you very
case,
Thank you
much.
very much.
yeah, okay, thanks.
Bhante.
Yeah, if you need maybe any other day, just like Thursday or Monday, but let me know bit in advance. I can share with you a bit. Continue. Thanks. Send it. Ranjani will send it.